What's up, ladies and gents? This is KSigKid, coming at you with another Destiny video. Today we're talking about Vosik again, except for this time we're talking about Challenge Vosik. So we're going to do a little bit of a guide and a walkthrough of my first Challenge Vosik attempt, and we're going to show the loot that we end up getting, and we're going to talk about how you can go ahead and best fit your team and get ready to go ahead and do the battle. Now let's start things off by saying that this run is absolutely 100% not perfect. There are going to be a lot of mistakes that you see, and I think that's actually a good thing. I think it's good to show you that yes, you can mess up and still get this completed. It's not like orcs, it's not like challenge orcs or orcs in general, or the Kingsfall in general, where everybody has to be perfect all the time for things to end up completing and working out in your favor. In fact, right here, whenever I go to throw, Vosik was starting to move to the right, and I missed my first orb, so oops. I had to call that out to my teammates. Now, we were going to go in 4 runs every time anyway. We were talking about that in the video that I did the other day, where I was talking about 2 cycling Vosik. So actually missing an orb isn't a bad thing. It just means that we need to hit the rest of them. So you need to basically hit Vosik with 18 different orbs in order to take his shield down, in order to get him to the damage phase. So if you happen to hit him with 17 and then miss one on purpose, whenever you go into the 4th run to throw your 6 orbs, you're going to be dealing out 135,000 damage with each additional orb, and that's really nice for pumping out the extra damage on Vosik. So our number one goal and our number one plan is that we were going to do that on the first run and the second run if at all possible and if at all needed. I think it's a really good idea to get as much damage out on Vosik as early as possible whenever you have all of your teammates alive, because we all know the longer a battle goes on, the greater the chance is of somebody dying, and because there's no revives in hard mode, you know, it's better to have his damage and his health down as low as possible if you happen to need to clutch it out at the end. So that's why I really suggest going ahead and doing 4 orb rotations for each of his early damage cycles, because I think that's just a smart thing. Typically, people aren't going to die until you start leaving your area, running to the clean rooms, and then running back to those areas and having to take care of the enemies that are spawning in, things like that. Once everybody's in their location and pretty much settled, I think everybody has a better chance of staying alive, so I feel like 4 cycling the orbs is a really good and a really smart idea. Now, as we're coming up to the damage stage, one other thing that you're going to notice is we have no Titans on our team. So we have no Titans at all, and that means that I feel our damage is going to be lower than it should be, and the damage that you'll see is actually lower than you'll probably be able to output in your own team, because you'll probably have a Titan. And you probably also noticed that I smacked those Vandals as they were dropping down as well. I was not having a good time with that first cycle of orbs, not at all. So right here, we're just going ahead and firing. But what we need to do for the challenge is we need to grab these 2 orbs that are dropping down from the ceiling, and we need to use these orbs on the clean rooms. We need to activate all 4 of the clean rooms before killing Vosik. So I happen to be one person that was grabbing the orbs, and I'm going to run in here, and I know nobody else is coming into my clean room. Everybody that's in there is all set and ready to go. Whenever you get in, go ahead and throw that charge at the door. Throw it at the door a little bit early too, because there's definitely a little bit of a delay. First off, you've got an animation delay of winding up and throwing off that Siva charge. And also, there's a little bit of a delay in the explosion, so if you're cutting it really close, even if you hit the door, you might wipe the team. So just make sure you're in there and ready to go. Now, another really important thing to remember is, now that we've already used that back right room, and we ended up using one of the rooms on the left-hand side, those rooms can't spawn in again. So we know automatically on the second run that we're going to have a room on the right and left-hand side as well. In the beginning, it's a little bit tricky, because you could have rooms, one on the left, one on the right, or you could have 2 rooms on the right or 2 rooms on the left. We don't have that option anymore. Since we already wiped a room on the right and the left last time, there are only 2 rooms left, one on the left and one on the right, so it makes our job a little bit easier. One thing you'll notice is those rooms, those clean rooms, they don't really light up until a few seconds after the charges end up dropping. So one of the things that I was learning early on was, if I picked it up and I started looking around immediately, the rooms might not be lit up yet, and I might start running thinking, oh, you know what, nothing's going to spawn in on the right hand side. I might start running to the left, and then boom, the room ends up spawning in on the right hand side, and I'm completely out of position. So just wait a few seconds, wait until the rooms are definitively lit up, and then go ahead and make your charge. I feel it's a little bit easier if you have 2 people that are designated to go and grab the orbs, so people aren't wandering and running around. People can know, hey, I can just sit back here and deal damage to Vosik right away, and other people know, hey, it's my job to go ahead and go get those orbs. You have to use those orbs in order to detonate the rooms, and you have to detonate all 4 rooms before you kill Vosik. If for some reason your damage is really low, and you can't in effect 3-cycle Vosik, then just take your time and do the rooms 1 at a time instead of doing them 2 in 2. Now, I don't really believe you should be having that much trouble. I don't believe your damage should be that low where you're really struggling to get Vosik down in 3 runs. Like I said, here we don't even have a Titan, and we're still able to get it done pretty comfortably by the end. If you're doing the 4 cycles, you're going to be in good shape, and if you're using the right gear, you're going to be in good shape. For me, I really strongly recommend the Outbreak Prime for everybody. It's a really high damaging weapon, and its ease of use is easily the easiest of all the weapons. You can see right here, Vosik isn't exactly giving out his critical spot for his head, so a Sleeper Simulant would be wasted, a Black Spindle would be completely wasted, and right here, oh my goodness, the clench is for real. I bounced up and off of that barrier, which completely slowed me down. In my mind, I was not thinking I was going to make it to the room. I feel like I just barely got it off. I didn't say anything to my teammates. I didn't say anything even afterwards. If any of them happen to watch this video, they're going to see just how close I ended up cutting it. Because, wow, that barrier, it just bopped me right up in the air. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to totally wipe this team. I'm going to totally wipe this run. But we didn't. We ended up making it. And congrats to me for making it in there. Now, for me, if we would have had a Titan, we would have got to the Shank phase right away, because we had pretty good damage on that first run. We laid off a little bit on that second one, and if I'm picking, I would rather face the Shanks than the Vandals. Now that might not be the case of everybody, but for me, I would rather face the Shanks. So if you've got a preference, you can make that decision with your teammates. You have to cycle Vosik 3 times in order to complete the challenge mode, so it's up to you. Do you want to face the Vandals twice and the Shanks once? Or do you want to face the Vandals once and then the Shanks twice? That's going to be up to you. And if you want to face the Shanks twice, then make sure you get that damage out big time in the first run. Make sure you try to get his health down below 50% so that you can face the Shanks 2 times. It's up to you. Again, I have the preference for the Shanks. I feel like shooting those Exploder Shanks are just a benefit to you because they typically end up exploding and killing the Repeater Shanks, which are typically more dangerous than the Exploder Shanks, especially in the middle. In the middle, it's so nice. Go ahead and start shooting those Exploder Shanks as they're dropping down from the middle, and they're going to kill the Repeater ones, and it's just really nice. So I personally would rather face the Shanks. You guys might feel a little bit differently. I wonder actually what the consensus is as far as what people would rather face. I wonder if more people would rather face the Shanks or more people would rather face the Vandals. I just hate whenever you shoot at the Vandals, getting those headshots and then having those seeking death balls come at you for getting a critical hit kill, basically punishing you for getting a critical hit kill on an enemy. Not a fan of that thing at all. So you can see where Vosik's health is. He's definitely going to go down whenever we finally throw off our final orb. Again, we would have liked to go ahead and do this final stage in 3, but we lost a teammate, and that's why I'm saying get that damage out early, because you never know when you're going to lose a teammate. And right now, we're down 1 person, and that means that we couldn't throw all of the orbs in order to get 18 shots of the shield in just 3 runs. It meant that somebody would have had to run around and try to throw 2 orbs at once, and that's sometimes a little bit difficult, especially with all the timing. But no worries, we're just going to go ahead and throw out just like a 4 cycle. We're going to get a bunch of extra damage on him, and with our tethers and our outbreak primes, he's going to get melted. You can see his health is just absolutely getting melted away. He's got no chance. So even though we've only got 5 people here, Vosik's going to go down. In fact, if we needed, we could have used the 2 Siva charges that drop from the ceiling to use those for additional damage. So there's definitely extra damage that was left on the table. Like I said, no weapons of light bubble because no titans. And we still got him down pretty comfortably. So I believe you will be able to get him down pretty comfortably as well. So now we're going to take a look at some of the different loot that we ended up getting. So it's challenge mode, which means that we're going to go ahead and get our normal hard mode and normal mode drops. And then in the middle right here is challenge mode drops. And what the challenge mode drops are pretty much anything from the raid. So you can see I ended up grabbing a pair of boots. So they're normal boots, and I was looking all over the place for my hard drop. And here it is. It was in If Materia, Again, you would typically get this from the Siege engine, but because it's challenge mode, I ended up getting it from Vosik. So I ended up getting a machine gun, and I ended up getting boots, and I also got an exotic Ingram. And I'm going to go ahead and open up this Siva cash chest, and it looks like I got nothing, but it all went to my postmaster. In fact, that Ingram ended up going to my postmaster as well. We'll get there in just a second. You also get these perfected ornaments, and you use these ornaments on the raid gear. So just like exotic ornaments, you have to go ahead and put them on, and when you do, you end up glowing. Now, I would say don't use your ornaments just yet on your raid gear. Right now, the raid gear is costing silver dust plus an ornament slot, and Bungie's already mentioned that they're going to take that silver dust requirement away, so don't go ahead and use it just yet. And you can see I ended up getting an Ex Machina, that sniper rifle from the heroic chest that I ended up popping, and those pair of boots ended up coming from the challenge mode. You get one guaranteed for doing the challenge mode. Anyway, guys and gals, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smack that like button and subscribe to the channel. Check out these awesome videos. Good luck with your raids, your drops, your challenge, and I'll see you around in Destiny. #challenge complete.